There could soon be a new life to a college campus that has been dormant for months. Last August, Fontbonne University in Clayton closed due to declining enrollment and financial concerns. While a long-term plan for the campus is unclear, ideas are blooming for its immediate future, and one of the university's most well-known programs is living on hundreds of miles away. 16 acres of prime real estate in Clayton, now a ghost town.
It's kind of sad. It's just this big, beautiful piece of property with nobody using it.
Neighboring Washington University purchased the Fontbonne campus for $39 million, but in a statement to First Alert 4, they said they currently don't have an overall plan on how to use the campus.
I would either like to see WashU use it, or I would like to see them sell it to somebody who is going to use it.
Now, the Clayton School District is in talks with WashU to potentially use the campus temporarily. The district says Glen Ridge Elementary School is in need of a full renovation, and if Clayton voters approve a bond issue in April, the Fontbonne campus could be used as a bridge campus to support those displaced Glen Ridge students during construction. Clayton district leaders say they have toured the campus several times. While students could soon fill these buildings once again, Fontbonne's legacy is living on 250 miles east of St. Louis through a program that's providing much-needed teachers in deaf education.
There are Fontbonne grads all over the country and world serving deaf children.
For more than 60 years, Fontbonne had been preparing teachers to educate deaf students. The program's director said it was crucial that education continued.
We need a workforce that is prepared to meet parents of the very youngest babies. We need teachers of the deaf who are going to work in general education settings, helping kids learn language, to have relationships with their peers. And we also need teachers who are going to support children to foster relationships amongst their friends so they can live these enviable lives.
So starting in August, Butler University, a small private college in Indianapolis, will offer a master's in deaf education program online.
What we are finding, and what we found at Fontbonne that will continue at Butler, is we need teachers of the deaf all over the world, certainly all over the United States. And when we can offer an online program, we can provide the theory in the coursework delivered in an online model to the scholar or the student wherever they live and work.
There is a meeting on Thursday night for Clayton school leaders to further discuss its facilities plan, but reiterated nothing has been finalized with WashU to use the Fontbonne campus. Meanwhile, Butler University is currently recruiting students for its Master's in Deaf Education program. If you're interested, we'll put that information on the First Alert 4 News app.